What's going on, everybody? My name is Hydros, and welcome back to some more My Hero Academia Ultra Impact. And today, I'm going to talk about some of the best characters that you're going to want to be looking for when you're re-rolling, as well as some of the best pair of characters that you're going to want to be looking out for as well while you're re-rolling in the game. Now, this is a guide, kind of an extension on my how to re-roll video that I did a few days ago. So if you missed out on that video, check it out in the description down below. But this is just a guide on some of the best characters to look out for. Now, this is by no means telling you have to get these characters. By all means, re-roll for what characters you want to look for and what you want specifically in your game. This is just a guide to kind of help you determine some of the better characters to look out for whenever you're re-rolling in the start of the game. Now, before we go ahead and get started, make sure you guys go down there, click that red subscribe button if you haven't already to join the Heroes and Villains community here today on Hydros Impact, as well as click that bell, turn on all notifications that we don't miss out on any future videos, whether it be gameplay, showcases, summons, guides, everything relating to My Hero Academia Ultra Impact, gonna be your best one-stop shop right here on YouTube. Now, I'm going to be going over some of the kits of some of the characters here on the wiki, so if you haven't checked out the wiki, link in the description down below. I am currently the one building the wiki, so I'm doing as best of a job as I can to get everything up there for you guys to know all the kits, all the events, and everything like that about the game, and that way you can actually read it, because I know that a lot of us out there can't read Japanese, but I am doing my best to get this up and running for you guys as quickly as possible. And shout outs to the MHA Ultra Impact Discord for also helping out with translations and getting this done a lot quicker with me. That's been awesome of them to help out as well as do the translation. So shout outs to them. Check it out in the description down below. But all right, some of the best pairs to look out for when you're re-rolling. Now, when you're re-rolling, if you didn't know what I'm talking about, there is a re-roll at the beginning of the game. Whenever you start, they're going to give you a free multi-summon, and with that, you're going to want to do that and continuously re-roll your multi-summon until you get a pairing that either you want specifically, or if you get some of these pairings that I'm going to talk about here in today's video. So, one of the very first pairings that I'm going to talk about is Bakugou and Momo. Now, this is probably, in my opinion, the Z tier best pairing that you could probably get in the game, because Bakugou, he is a freaking monster, man. Not only does he have some pretty high stats, but also he can deal a serious amount of damage, especially if you happen to burn the enemy. And also, the more enemies you defeat, the better Bakugou gets over time in the waves of enemies that you're going to be taking on. And the reason that he's best with Momo is that Momo is also a healer. So if we look at her action skill here, her first one, First Aid, remove one status condition from all allies. So she also can remove a status condition from Bakugou if necessary. And then also you get a 25% HP heal from Momo as well. But one of her passives is what's making her great for Bakugou. So we have her auto skill, her very first one that you get when you summon her on the banner. It's called Special Operation. It is increase all skill or blue type allies power or attack by 15%. So pairing her with Bakugou, just from her alone is getting that 15% on her action skill. So he's already getting 15%. If we look at Bakugou here, he has AP shot, which is 300% damage to a single enemy. Add that little 15%. Ooh, boy, that's a lot of damage. And then also when he has his auto skill active, when HP is 50% or above, most of the time, that's pretty much when you're starting out a battle anyway, increase your own power by 25%, and then also increase your power by 5% for enemy defeated. So you're getting that 25% power increase, then you're getting Momo's 15%, and then also you're getting an extra 5% per enemy defeated. And then also, if you happen to burn the enemy, which his AP shot deals 300% damage and has a medium chance to inflict burn, if you happen to then burn the enemy, let's say you're on the very final wave, you're building up his attack with his passive there, Momo's giving him buffs, healing him to keep that 50% HP alive. And then also, if you get that burn, you're getting an extra 40% on the plus ultra, which is 600% damage to a single enemy, and then an extra 40% if the enemy is burned. So that 40%, the 15%, the 25%, the 5, the 5, the 5, counting up every time you defeat an enemy. Bakugou can deal out some insane numbers the more that he stacks and the more that you use him. Now, again, that medium chance to burn, you know, I believe that the chances to burn in this game, I think, are roughly medium is probably, I think, maybe 30 to 40%, roughly around that line, I think. maybe 25-35. That'd probably be a little bit more of a sweet spot. I think, I don't know exact percentages, but that's kind of what I'm kind of going with. And then also, when this skill is used in a skill chain and succeeds, decrease enemy defense by 15%. So if he uses AP shot and then you use that in a skill chain. So whenever, what a skill chain is when you use an enemy's action skills all together. So let's say you have your 3 characters and you're using an action skill on each character, you have to tap the screen in order to continue the chain, and that's a max chain of 3. But if you have a chain going on and it succeeds, then he's getting that defense down on the enemy. Then also, if he has that chance to burn, then also he has that 40% if the enemy is burned on that plus ultra attack, plus he's stacking attack, plus Momo's giving him power, plus Momo's healing him to give him above that HP percentage as well. And not only does he have the first passive, but if you ever unlock his second passive, which you unlock on the first page, node 1 of the limit break ability board, which I did do a guide on the ability boards down in the description down below. Check it out. There's a guide on everything about the ability boards down there. But if you happen to unlock his second auto skill from the limit break ability board, that gives him a second passive of when 50% HP or above. It increases his speed by 25%, and then he gets a second power increase of 3% every turn, up to 30%. So that's an up to 30% power increase, a 5% power increase for every enemy defeated, then another 40% power increase on the plus ultra as well if you happen to inflict burn using the AP shot. And if you happen to use AP shot in a skill chain, enemies' defenses go down by 15%. Again, Momo giving him the heal is going to keep him above that 50% if used her, appropriately. Definitely is going to help. Momo also does damage to all allies and decreases enemy speed, so that's going to help you out as well with Bakugou. Maybe you're facing an enemy that maybe is a little bit faster than you. Momo is going to help you decrease that speed for 3 turns by 15%, increasing all skill allies. And then also, if you unlock Momo's auto skill, her second auto skill from the limit break ability board, then all allies are immune to 1 debuff once only whenever they're sent out in battle because of her ability. So at the start of a battle, all allies are immune to 1 debuff once only. That would be good in case you ever have to run into an enemy that automatically debuffs at the start of turn. That would be good for her as well, and all that kind of stuff. So Bakugou Momo probably is one of the better pairings in the game, in my opinion, just because Bakugou, with him stacking and stuff, if you get him to do that, man, he's gonna be insane in the membrane, man. And then also Todoroki, he is a green type character, so he's not going to get that Momo buff. But if you do happen to get Todoroki as well, pair him with Momo and Bakugou. I know Momo's not going to buff him, like I said, but Todoroki also has burn chances. So if Todoroki, you have double the chance to inflict burn on an enemy if you have Todoroki on your team. So Bakugou also has the chance to inflict burn with his AP shot. If it happens to fail, then Todoroki has the chance to burn as well on his second action skill, which is medium chance to burn as well for 3 turns. So that applies to all enemies. So if you're wanting to use Todoroki with Bakugou, Bakugou can only do it to 1 enemy, I believe. Yeah, it's only 1 enemy that he gets an inflict burn to. So Todoroki is going to get the chance to burn all enemies. And if you happen to burn all enemies, Bakugou is going to get that plus ultra attack burn plus if you burn all enemies, no matter who it's going to hit. So that's going to be even better for him. But Todoroki would do well with him, right? So that's going to be something to look out for, as well as if you happen to pull Todoroki and Bakugou, that is a decent pairing, because again, that burn from Todoroki is definitely going to help him out. And then obviously Momo's helping him out, keeping him healed up, keeping your entire team healed up and all that stuff with her abilities. She is pretty insane as well. So these two are probably, this is what I went for specifically. This is what I did. I happened to get Momo and Bakugou on a reroll summon. I kept going until I actually got those 2 characters specifically, because I thought they would work best together, and they really, really do work good together. I guarantee it. If you get these 2, you're probably going to be set for a while in the game until we get like awesome banners to summon on in the future as well. So those 2 are probably the Z tier top _1 pairing that you're going to want to summon for. Bakugou being the #1 character I would recommend to summon for overall, but again, summon for who you want to. And then Todoroki's pretty good. I mean, I would say maybe he's a low A tier character. He's not like super insane. He heavily relies on, this freezing and burning, and also I believe that also his HP of 50% or higher increase your plus ultra gauge. He does get a lot of plus ultra gauge increases, so he definitely has a chance to shine if he gets that that plus ultra attack a lot, because again, increase your chain, increase your power. Then he gets plus ultra gauge increased by 20, another plus ultra gauge. So he's going to be getting his plus ultra gauge, you know, quite a bit in the game if you happen to have Todoroki. So that's pretty good. Again, I would say he's a low A tier character. Something to look out for as well if you happen to get Bakugou. If you do happen to get Bakugou and Todoroki, that's a fine pair. I would stick with that as well. But Bakugou and Momo, the best one to look for after that. And then the next pairing that I would say to look out for is probably one of the second better pairings in the game, is the green Uraraka Ochako. In my field, Uraraka, which she is also a healer. So if you happen to get Bakugou and Ochako, these two would work well together too, because she's also giving him a heal, and then also she's giving evasion with her action skill, her first one. So her first action skill, I can do it with support, heals all allies HP by 25%, or 20%, excuse me, and it applies evasion to all allies for 1 turn. So that's going to be good. Bakugou is going to get that HP heal if he needs it, and then also is going to get an evasion to where he's not going to get hit, so he stays above his recommended HP requirement for his abilities there. And then also with Ochako here as well, she has Gunhead Martial Arts, which allows her to counter normal attacks for 3 turns and then increases her power by 25% for 3 turns. So her counters are going to do a little bit more damage because she's getting that 25% buff for her counters, and that's also got a cooldown of 6 turns. Ochako does buff green types, so if you happen to get her with Todoroki, that's a good one, and she's buffing Todoroki as a green type unit. So and then also her second auto skill is when evasion is active, she gets a speed increase of 30%. So she's going to get a very good speed buff if you give her with her evasion skill, basically. So she's going to use her first action skill, applying the evasion to everyone, and then she's going to get that evasion as active, increased speed by 30%. So she's not only going to be faster, she's going to be evading attacks, and that's going to be pretty good. But the one to go with Ochako specifically is going to be Strong Gale's Hawks, the green UR Hawks. He's going to be the one that's going to probably do the best with Ochako, because he relies on evasion as well for his kit. And because of Ochako giving, you know, evasion to all allies, that's going to help out Gale, not Gale, but shout to Gale, Strong Gale's Hawks here. So let's read his kit. His plus ultra attacks 550% damage to a single enemy, increase the power, his own power by 30% if the enemy has a speed debuff for 1 turn, give evasion to self. So after his plus ultra attack, he is going to give his evasion to self for 1 turn. So that's automatic evasion for Hawks. And then his action skill, his first one, Feather Shotgun, 175% damage to all enemies. That's an AoE attack. And then allies speed increase by 15% for 3 turns. So he's giving all allies that speed increase. And then his second action skill, Flame Dance, 325% damage to a single enemy. All allies add second chance attack for 2 turns. So what this one is doing is giving you basic attacks to where you can attack twice in 1 turn. So whenever you're attacking in the game, you have your plus ultra attack, or you're using an action skill, and then after that you're going to be using something like that's called a basic attack. You know, a basic attack, you're just going to deal damage to the enemy, and that's it. The action skills have, you know, flashy animations. A basic attack is literally just them like going up and punching the enemy type of thing. It's a basic attack. That's literally all I can explain it and how the best way I can describe it. So all your allies are going to get the chance to attack twice with their basic attacks, and that's going to be pretty good, especially for Bakugou. So if you, I mean, again, if you happen to get him with Bakugou and you give that all allies add second attack chance for 2 turns, then if Bakugou gets that double attack, if he happens to take out 2 enemies, Bakugou is going to get that double attack buff. But again, with Strong Gale's Hawks, at the start of a battle for his first auto skill, all allies evade 1 attack once, and then when HP is a 50% or above, increase own speed by 15%. Now, where Ochako comes in is when Ochako activates her action skill, giving evasion to all allies, is where Hawk's second auto skill is going to come into play, which increase own power by 25% when evasion is active. So at some point, Hawks is going to have evasion active, whether Ochako's giving it to him with her action skill, or whether he's giving it to himself with his plus ultra attack, or whether, you know, he's giving it to himself with his auto skill at the start of turn. So he's going to get evade at the start of turn. He's going to get that power increase. When Ochako comes out, gives him evasion on turn 2, stays with that power increase. Then he uses his plus ultra attack, he gets evasion, bring back that power increase. So every time he gives evasion, you can constantly give Hawks evasion no matter what you're doing, whether it's through his passive at the start of the turn, whether it's through his plus ultra attack every time you're able to use it, or whether it's Ochako who's able to use her action skill to constantly give it to him. He's going to get that power buff, and that makes him and Ochako pretty good at being paired together because Ochako can then give him that evasion. So that's another pair to look out for, Ochako and Hawks. And then another one to look out for is Aizawa with Hawks. So Aizawa would go good with Hawks because of Aizawa's auto skill, which his first one is increase pro hero allies power by 20%, not 25, 20. It's 20. My goodness, I can't read today. But yeah, so Aizawa is going to be pretty much the only one that's going to go with Hawks because these are the only two pro heroes that you can summon for. You can actually get the yellow UR All Might, who's available in the shop, and I will do a video on him as well in the future. But they're the ones that we're getting through summons. All Might is not available in the summon pool, so I'm not including him in this. But Aizawa and Hawks, because Aizawa's buffing pro heroes, and the only other pro hero on the banner is Hawks. So that's kind of another pair to look out for if you want, you know, the Aizawa pro hero buff along with Hawks in the same team. That would probably do pretty well. Again, Aizawa, he's a pretty good character as well to look out for. I would say he's a high B to low A tier type of character. Same with Hawks, he's probably like maybe a high B, low A. And then his abilities for Aizawa: 550% damage to a single enemy, remove all buffs from attacked enemy, medium chance to seal skills for 2 turns. So his plus ultra attack has the ability to seal the enemy's skills for 2 turns, which is pretty good. So they're not going to be able to do much damage to you if they have like attack skills or not able to debuff you or whatever for 2 turns. That's going to come in handy with Aizawa here. And then his action skill is 300 damage to a single enemy, randomly remove 1 buff from the attacked enemy. So if an enemy attacks you or you attack the enemy with this action skill, you're going to remove a buff. So let's say enemy has like 4 buffs. It's going to randomly remove 1 of the buffs and stuff like that. And that's going to at least help you out in some way, shape, or form. His second action skill, which is 300% damage to a single enemy, and then when you use it in a skill chain of 2 or more and it succeeds, it has the medium chance to seal skills for 2 turns. So that's also kind of going hand in hand with plus ultra. You're going to be able to seal your opponent's skills for 2 turns, kind of help you out, help you last a little bit longer in battle. And then we already went over his auto skill, increase pro hero allies by power by 20%. That's going to go good with Hawks, and also the All Might, but we're talking about the summon reroll right now, so this is specifically for Hawks. And then his second auto skill, when HP is 50% or less, increase your own speed by 30%. So the less HP he has, the more speed he's going to get. So I mean, that's all right. It's not the greatest kit because this cooldown, I mean, you're going to seal for 2 turns, then you have to wait 6 more turns for this. So hopefully by the time this cools down, you'll probably have your plus ultra. So you use plus ultra, then you come back into this, right? So use this, kind of go alternating back and forth in a way. So Aizawa, again, high B to low A tier, definitely a character to look out for. And then another character pairing to look out for is the Kirishima and red Izuku Midoriya. There are 2 Izuku Midoriyas on the banner. There's a red one and a yellow one. The yellow one is okay. I feel the red one is a lot better than the yellow one. So I would say if you're happening to get this Midoriya a lot, the red one, if you happen to get Kirishima with him, that would be a pretty good team to go with because they're red type characters, obviously. And, you know, they're just going to buff each other. And then Kirishima's going to buff the red type allies power by 15% with his auto skill. And that's going to be really good. And then he also gets a barrier on himself. And then he also can counter Kirishima. Yeah, Kirishima can counter for 2 turns, which is really good. Having a counter, just like Ochako, if you happen to get Kirishima with Ochako, where's she at? There we go. If you happen to get Kirishima with Ochako, that's a double counter unit team right there. So you have Ochako countering, and then you have Kirishima countering. That's going to be insane to work with if you have both of those on the team. Just, you know, Ochako's healing, Kirishima's countering, then Ochako's countering. Man, that's going to be a lot of damage. And then also with his counters, he's also reducing damage he takes by 30%. So that's going to be really useful as well. And then 300% damage to a single enemy. He gains a barrier on himself, reduces self damage by 30% for 1 turn. And then he's buffing the red ally, so that's going to be good with Izuku Midoriya, the red one. And then Izuku Midoriya, he's okay, but the receive a certain amount of damage inflicted. Whenever he attacks with this ability, he's going to receive like blowback damage, so he's going to actually take damage when dealing damage on that move. and that's not really ideal. You don't want to obviously lose HP, but if you have a healer like Momo or Ochako, I guess this really wouldn't matter too much. You'll be able to at least heal it back up at some point using those, but again, having a unit that just inflicts damage upon himself right now just isn't the best one to probably go for. If it was me personally, I would probably reroll. Even if I got this Midoriya, I would try to reroll for the better combos like Momo Bakugou or Ochako Hawks or Hawks Aizawa or Kirishima Ochako. Those would be pretty good. Or Kirishima Bakugou. Those two would be pretty good. And then stuff like that, right? So, and then also Izuku Midoriya increases your critical rate by 25% when your HP is 50% or less. That's going to be good. And then also when Midoriya critical hits on his first auto skill, increase your power by 30% for 3 turns. And then also when he has his HP is 50% or less, he gains automatic 10% HP recovery for 3 turns during battle. So yeah, so if he does inflict damage to himself, if he happens to fall below 50%, he does gain an HP recovery. And then also you can use Ochako or Momo to then increase that HP healing a little bit more at the end of that. So that's going to be something to look forward to. And then the final pairing that I want to go over with you guys here today is this: All for One and Shigaraki. All for One and Shigaraki are probably the only 2 main villains besides, I think, Toga, Muscular, and Dabi. I think those are the only other ones that are in the game. I may be missing one off the top of my head, but these 2 are going to work really well together. Not only are they the same typing, but they are both villain buffing characters. Now, again, these 2 are going to work well together. These 2 are going to work well only together pretty much. I mean, Shigaraki's all right, but again, with All for One and Shigaraki, these 2 are going to be good together because Shigaraki is increasing ally villain power by increasing it by 25%, and then All for One is giving all villain allies an increased critical rate of 15% when your HP is 50% or higher. So All for One's increasing crit rate of villains, Shigaraki's increasing power of villains, so they're also buffing each other, right? So Shigaraki is giving that power increase to All for One, and then All for One is giving that critical rate increase to Shigaraki, which is, you know, they're buffing themselves, and then any other villains that you have on the team is also going to benefit from that as well. And then also you can use All for One to reduce the cooldown of one ally. So not only can you reduce the cooldown, probably hopefully that it's with Shigaraki, then if you're going against pro heroes in the game, most likely less than not, you're probably going to fight pro heroes at some point, shape or form, like the USJ event and stuff. So then Shigaraki can then go against pro heroes, get more chances to apply fear, or have this one where he has 300% damage to a single enemy. If the enemy is a pro hero, decrease the enemy attack by 20% for 3 turns. So All for One getting that reduction in cooldown, giving that to Shigaraki, boom. Then he can reduce pro heroes attack by 20% for 3 turns. That's going to be insanely comboed together pretty much. Then All for One giving enemies action skills deal 25% less damage. So he's helping out the team even more, helping out Shigaraki take less damage, helping himself take less damage, and also your other allies on the team taking way less damage as well. And then also, when HP is 50% or less, action skills deal 50% more damage on self. So if you happen to fall 50% HP, All for One is going to do 50% more damage. And then Shigaraki's giving him that power buff by 25%. Man, that's 75% increase to his damage. That is pretty nutty, and he's already dealing 600% on his plus ultra, 300% on his action skill, and 175 on his other one. So man, that's gonna be freaking nuts, especially if we get a third villain that also does this, like a UR villain that also increases villains, like let's say it increases villain speed. Pairing those 3 together is going to be freaking nuts, man. These are the 2 best villain team units that I think that are the only villain team units that pretty much are the best in the game right now. So that's a pair to look for. Again, Midoriya Red and Kirishima Red, a pair to look out for. Aizawa Hawks, a pair to look out for. Hawks and Ochako is a pair to look out for. Ochako can pair with Bakugou if you need to be. And then also you can pair Shota Todoroki with Ochako, Todoroki with Bakugou. But the main best pairing, like I said, is Bakugou and Momo, the best pair to look out for. So that's pretty much it for today's video, guys. That is the best pairings that you can get on the reroll banner. That's what to look out for. Again, take this as you will. This is pretty much a guide on what the best characters are to reroll for. But summon for what you want at the end of the day. At the end of the day, summon what makes you happiest and summon for what you want and all that sort of stuff. And also there are memories on the banner, so just be aware of that. You have the summon for characters. You're gonna probably get a lot of memories in between there, so just be aware. But yeah, if you guys want to see more of this type of stuff in the future, let me know down in the comments down below. Leave a like down below if this guide helped you out a little bit in the reroll process. And thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully have a fantastic day. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Turn on all notifications by smacking that bell. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you guys again so much for watching. Have a fantastic day.